Hi, Deborah Moorhead here, and welcome to your Juicy Relationship Tips. The question that I got today is, how do I reconcile my marriage? We're separated and I really want to reconcile my marriage, and how do I do that? That is a very big question. It's pretty complicated. And I want to be able to give you at least a few things you can start working on. So in this video, I'm going to share two kind of big areas and give you some suggestions about what you can work on towards reconciling your marriage. I want to start off by saying one kind of caveat to it, and that is, if you want to reconcile your marriage, the first thing you have to do is you have to look and evaluate, am I committed and is my partner committed to wanting to reconcile? And are both of us open to being willing to change? Because here's the problem. If your marriage is at the place where you are separated or thinking about divorce, then there's been a history of stuff that's gone on that's been pretty painful. And whether you want to hear it or not, both people have had a part in creating some negative or problematic patterns in that. And so both people have to be willing to change. So that is the first caveat, and I want to go ahead and jump in and share two different areas that you can start working on to really begin to move towards reconciling your marriage. So the first area that I want you to work on, that's a really important area in being able to reconcile any marriage, any relationship, has to do with building up positive, getting the friendship part back into the relationship. Let me give you a few different ideas and areas of how you can go about doing that. The first is just start doing positive, fun things together. Don't talk about all of the problems or the negative. Just go out and say, we're both going to go have a fun date tonight. We're both going to, something we used to do when we first started going out, that was a really fun thing. We're going to go do that together again. Maybe even ask each other, what's one thing you've always wanted to do? And then go and just do a new adventure with each other. But do positive things together where you're not talking about any of the difficult topics, you're just building and having fun times together. The other thing that you can do together is walk down memory lane together again. So one thing is just have a conversation about, you know, the very first time I laid eyes on you, this is what I thought, this is what I felt. And then as we started to date, these are three of the things that I just fell in love with you about. These are three of the qualities or characteristics, and take turns doing that. The other thing is to go through maybe some of your photo albums, or even go get a bunch of magazines, but kind of create a positive, fun memory timeline of the fun spaces that you have and recall in your relationships. So that way you're just kind of getting back and remembering all of the fun stuff that has happened over the years together. Another way that you can build the positive in your relationship is just taking time to kind of get to know each other. A lot of times we do that when we're first dating, but as a relationship goes on, we get busy with work, or get busy with the kids, or get busy with paying the bills and worry, and we forget that each person is still growing, and each person is having new friends and new likes and new thoughts and new dreams, and you want to take the time to just talk and ask questions and get to know each other. The next thing that you want to do is also take the time to find out what their needs are. I talk about needs a lot, but if they have a need to feel important, or maybe their word that's important to them is to be respected, or to really know that they're loved and belong, or to feel certain or secure, then what are some things that you can do? And you can even ask them to be able to help them. What words can you say? What actions can you do to be able to help them to know that you want to meet those needs for them? So there are several ways that you can be building the positive. And I want to make sure that this is really the first step that you do. I know that there's outlying issues that came to this place, and we're going to talk about that next. It's kind of like the scale. The problem is that if you're separated or thinking about divorce, you have gotten way more negative going on, and this is a time to get some positive going on, because you got to have the positive, and then that will help us to move into the next step. So the second area that you can work on to move towards reconciling your marriage has to do with the patterns that you and your partner have gotten into that has kind of taken you down the negative road, and how to start to shift that. What has most likely happened is that there's been hurt after hurt in different ways, really because there has been a lack of understanding or a lack of validation that has been happening for a while, as well as kind of how the patterns that has happened has gone back and forth. Like, there may be a lot of criticism, there may be a lot of defensiveness, there may even be sarcasm or avoiding. It's kind of hard to know, but basically some of those patterns in how you guys are working and communicating with each other have gotten in the way. I call this step going down the curiosity trail, because you really have to shift from I want to make sure you understand my point to I really want to understand your point. And there's lots of different steps to this. There's lots of different ways of doing this. There's a technique called the speaker-listener technique, where one person is the speaker and the other person is the listener and is just paraphrasing what they're hearing and validating what they're hearing. There's so many different ways of doing this, but really you've got to be in the place where instead of going, I need to defend my position, or you da 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 da, you want to get to the place where I just want to hear. I just want to hear and I understand. There's something very important for you behind whatever is this issue. Don't jump to problem solving. You just want to be hearing it. And if there's been some old hurts that haven't been repaired, you need to be able to go back to those old hurts and be able to do this same process. Now, I am going to tell you this whole step is very, very difficult to do on your own. So what I am going to suggest is you can try this, and I'm going to give you a few books here at the end where they could help you through some of it, as well as other parts of reconciling or building up a good marriage. But most likely this has been going on for a while. So breaking these patterns is really difficult to do just the two of you. So bringing in a third party, a coach or a therapist, that's what I do. What I love to do is to help people with this, to really learn what's underneath for the other person. And it's only in that space that we actually repair our relationships. So that is kind of the whole picture of the second, is you've got to get your mindset, both of you have to get your mindset in, I really want to understand what is behind it for you, and I validate that this was how you felt. And you've got to get out of your defensiveness to be able to do that and really just understand and get on the curiosity trail. All right, so that's the second area. Once you have been able to build up the positive through all the different things I spoke about earlier, and you've been able, with yourself or with the help of a third person to help you out, to be able to really get into that curiosity place and really build new patterns of being able to understand and have empathy and validate one another in the ways that you're able to talk to each other. Then you also can do a third area, which is really about being able to build a sense of we in your purpose. What is the purpose of us together? That next thing of what we accomplish, what we like to do together, but maybe what we're going to accomplish even in the world together as a couple or whatever that may be. That's another area. That's kind of a third area that I'm just throwing out there. What I am going to say, though, again, is when a marriage or relationship has gotten to the place where there's a separation or a consideration of divorce, there's usually a lot of emotions, a lot of hurt that has gone on. I'm going to, again, really recommend that you connect with me, find a good coach in your area, find a good therapist in your area, because there are stages when you get into the hurts that are pretty hard to do on your own. I am going to share with you, there are lots of books out there. I'm going to share with you 3 different books that could help. And then also you can reach out, like I said, to somebody else. One of the books is a book called How We Love by Milan and Kay Yurkovich. Another one is Getting the Love You Want, a Guide for Couples by Harville Hendricks. And a third one is The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John Gottman. So these are just 3 of my recommendations for books. You can go check them out. There are so many more good books out there as well. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave a comment for me and share this if you think this will help anyone else as well. Thank you, and I will see you next time.